Hello and welcome to the Power Play, our social media only segment of Around the Wicket. I'm Neroli Meadows, Aaron Finch, Cal Ferguson alongside me. Boys, one of the great stories has emerged in the last few days. Basically, Brad Hodge, who, by the way, is about to turn 50 years of age, just bear that in mind, rode a bike apparently into the dressing rooms, into the sheds where the Aussies were after their last T20 international against Pakistan, pulled a bit of a burnout and then rode his way back out, much to the fanfare and hilarity of the boys in the sheds. Once again, about to turn 50 years of age. Is this the most Brad Hodge thing you've ever heard? Do you love it? Do you hate it? How do you feel about it?
If I didn't know who it was and someone says this has happened in an Australian change room, who did it? Brad Hodge would be my first guess.
Absolutely. On brand for Hodgie.
Very on brand for Hodgie. I don't think there's too much damage. He gets the bill and that's about it.
Cricket Tasmania wants him to foot the bill is what has been reported. Is that fair from Cricket Tas?
Oh, look, if they want to go down that path, I'm sure Hodgie will oblige. But, geez, what a story. I think it's great humour.
Have you ever done something like that and thought you got away with it only to be discovered a little while later?
Back in the day, a couple of lockers might have been destroyed after you get out, and no one mentions it. You think you get away with it, and then you look at your pay slip, and there'll be $500 for a new locker door.
Chip rocking room.
Yeah, so.
I don't think I was ever smart enough to get away with anything. So.
What did you go with? Bat into the locker room? Like, what was your usual dummy spit?
I've done it with a bat before. And then you realise your bats are very, very valuable when you're a top order player. So generally, it's then shoes get thrown through them or anything that's around. The MCG, I love it to death, and I apologise for a long history of destroying locker doors.
You've also just brought me to Simon Kadich, who once tells a story in his very Simon Kadich way. He gets really into a story, and there was something that occurred, and he summed it up by saying, "Thongs got snapped." Which is the way that you just described about the shoes being thrown. That's when something serious has happened. Yeah. Thongs got snapped.
Who throws a shoe?
Dan Christian, somebody that always had a bit of a dummy spit in the sheds. What about you? Have you gotten away with something over the years?
Oh, I'm not sure I did. I don't think I ever was smart enough to get away with it and hide it. But
too calm.
I've certainly seen. I used to go and berate myself sitting on the toilet after I got out. That's how I just tell myself off.
Paint the picture for
That's
us,
it.
though.
Yeah, no, in my pads, helmet, everything's still on, gloves, bat in hand, and just berate myself for 15 minutes. I went.
Could you see him
Very Michael Bevan. Michael Bevan used to do that for more.
I never threw everything into the toilet bowl like Slats did one day. Do you remember, Michael?
Yeah,
I reckon Michael Slater chucked everything into the toilet and flushed it.
Oh, that's amazing. I just imagine your family home now with an image of you and all your whites just sitting on the toilet, just the photo
helmet
on the door.
Helmet pads on, gloves, bat in hand.
Just resting on your knees.
Yeah.
Contemplating
just
life
contemplating
and the choices you've made.
Contemplating where you're at.
I was very lucky that the Adelaide Oval bathroom had a soundproof door, so I could just lock myself in there and just give it to myself.
There was another unusual story. I need to compose myself here, but Joe Richardson, the poor sod, really. He's had so many injuries. He comes back, he takes a couple of wickets and a couple of balls. He's on a hat trick. The celebration goes awry, puts up the hand, high five, dislocates his shoulder, injures his shoulder, has to come off the ground. Kudos to the West Australian newspaper who had the headline, "Can't take a hat trick," which I thought was very clever. But geez, you had to feel for him. Weird injuries for you though?
Oh, I was pretty lucky throughout my career. I didn't have too many weird injuries, but I saw the footage of Jai dislocating his shoulder, obviously holding it, going off, and you've really felt for him. But then to see him come back on and bowl, obviously he can't throw at the moment. It's been ongoing for a couple of years, so yeah, felt for him. But yeah, in terms of
it ended up being a good news story, didn't it? But I remember the willy-nilly high fives being thrown around in the Australian huddle after James Faulkner took a wicket and he threw his hand straight towards Brad Haddin, slipped off the glove, finger in the eye. Yep. Nearly lost his eye, Hads.
2013. I think we won that game, and Hads ended up with a bloody and bruised eye.
You got to be careful in those celebrations. The David Warner cramping ones were quite humorous for all of us a couple of years ago.
He's 200 at the
yeah.
Maxi out in the middle with the full body cramps.
Never go full salmon.
Full salmon.
Very good. Gents, thank you very much for your time on the Power Play, and join us every Wednesday around the Wicket, ESPN, KO or YouTube.